Okay, today's lecture is about the supposed law of attraction, vibrational energy, vibrational healings. Okay, so the basic idea is that there are such things called thought forms. Thoughts, everyone knows what thoughts and ideas are. And it used to be the idea that, mostly propagated if you watch YouTube videos, is that you produce thoughts. And you can choose the thoughts, and those are the ones that you might speak. I think this is mostly wrong. I think that what you speak and the ideas that come have to do a lot with the hologram that you're in. And basically, if you're in a hologram full of humans that basically coming from completely wrong way of looking at law of attraction. In other words, humans think that, they believe that bacteria and viruses cause disease. They believe in inevitability of death of the organism. So these are huge thought forms that are held by the vast majority of people. Incorrect. They are incorrect, but because there is so much energy in these thought forms, they are the predominant thought form of the human hologram. Now, how do you get out of it? Well, you educate people, but, my own experience is that trying this, it doesn't work for you. And, the only reason I can say is because it's, you're just overwhelmed by a world that doesn't want to go where you're going. So, crabs in the bucket are pulling you down into their way of seeing things. And, the more people that are against you putting out the wrong ideas, the more difficult the climb is to get out of the density of a third dimensional planet. And so it goes. Now, how do you get out of the crab bucket vibrationally? Well, it's basically for me, it just takes a very long time. It's been a very long time, and there's not a lot of people that believe in this kind of thing. And proof is in the pudding. So if you don't have a lot of examples out there, you can't go to your doctor and ask them for, vibrational medicine, because they don't have it. All they do is they do pills. Now, pills, there's two effects to a pill. There's the placebo effect, which everyone is familiar with, and then there is like a biochemical effect of a drug. And whether there actually is a biochemical effect, I used to believe there was. I was trained as a biologist, and I believed all this stuff. But because there's so much corruption in this third density planet, it's all come out through disclosure that, the prestigious places where scientific studies are published, it's all bullshit. They lie, and there's editors that are on record that's saying that the studies that are published in things like the New England Journal of Medicine have been cooked. So where do you draw the line and say there is a biochemical effect of certain drugs to help you? And, is it all placebo effect? Well, there's other people that say that, you just leave things alone and they'll get better. Why do people drop dead? Because even when they're treated, they die. Well, you're coming from a paradigm where people believe this, and there's so much energy invested in believing this. But I'll give you an example of something that, people believe by default that human beings are designed to die. It's, any old age is basically what they're going to call it, right? So you don't see anybody 150 years old. And, the biologist will say, well, maybe it's the telomeres on the end of during mitosis, and the telomeres, if you have too many cell divisions, then the telomeres get very short and they don't work so well, and then the cells can't divide properly and they get old, and basically the whole thing just falls apart. But I counter that with the HeLa cancer cells, HeLa. And these are cancer cells that were taken out of a woman. Her first name was Helen, H-E. That's where the Helen came from. And the law was, I think, her last name. I don't remember what it was. But HeLa cancer cells are used in medical research. And if memory serves me, it was in the 1950s that they harvested these cells. And these cells keep dividing perfectly, on and on and on and on. Since, the person, I don't know how old they were at the time when they developed this cancer, but, this cell line does not stop dividing. It keeps going and keeps going. So if a line of cancer cells are immortal, then there's no reason why your cells in your body cannot become immortal too. So, that just disproves the whole idea that you have to die. And, getting this idea out to people, well, very few people watch my videos, but I've been told by the Arcturians that just the intention of putting things out and making them available does change the collective consciousness, so that's why I do it. And you can listen to Daniel Scranton channeling the Arcturians to learn about things like this. And let's see, and as far as viruses and bacteria causing disease, they're little tiny organisms. They're very tiny. And, the consciousness, if you look at Dr. David Hawkins' lectures about the scales of consciousness, the consciousness of a bacteria is very low. It's like, it's the lowest thing on a consciousness scale. So it doesn't have very much consciousness. And for it to go and hijack a highly conscious being, namely a human being, and make it sick, is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense because, a higher consciousness is always going to entrain a lower consciousness, according to metaphysical theory. So why does it happen? It's just the place that we came from, the timelines of a third density planet, which is a planet that's all screwed up. In other words, a hell world. And how does it get there? Well, I used to have answers for this, but a lot of my answers I've had to let them go. I was going to say evolution of the human organism, because that's what Dr. Hawkins taught, that it was basically evolution, and you brought a lot of negativities from being in lower forms. In other words, having past lives as being a reptile or something. But the reason I have to throw a lot of this away is because the new information is that higher dimensional beings are the ones that basically run humans and create scenarios. This is the new disclosure information that comes from people like David Wilcock and Corey Good. And, well, if you take this into consideration, that there's hidden beings, because they're in dimensions that you can't see. And it's not that far-fetched. I mean, like, you think of radio waves. We all know that there's radio waves that are, you know, passing through the air right now, but you can't see them. You have to have a radio, turn it on to see that there is something coming and creating the music on the radio. So the proof is there that, you know, if there wasn't radio waves, then, you know, there'd be nothing on the radio when you turned it on, or the television, the old days when they broadcast it over the air. So let's see, the next topic that we're going to talk about is in another video. This is basically your introduction to vibration and law of attraction. And, you know, I've covered a few things here. But the main points I want you to take away from this lecture are the fact that we are in the middle of changing timelines. And the timelines basically are, you know, the things that, if nothing had changed, we would be in a very stagnant society. And we've had changes happen because in the vernacular they talk about people awakening, waking up. And basically, as you get more and more people waking up to the fact that they are being manipulated by humans and unseen beings from other dimensions. And, you know, you can see how that might work if you watch the Tesseract section of the movie Interstellar, which is on YouTube. I'm digressing. So I'm going to end the video here, and we'll try another one, see where we go.